Okay. I was just asking Travon about a sensitive issue, and we don't have to be specific and whatever Travon wants to say, but when you have battles in your life, I was just asking Travon how he fights those battles. How does he?
Any battles, correct?
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I don't. I like to think every day that I deal with these issues, but 90% of the time I do, but I don't deal with them maybe like I should. I do pray, not as much as I need to. I go to church. I do things that God wants us to do. I work. I try to live independently without letting someone hurt me because I've been hurt a lot. And I put up a happy face. I just, you know, I've been through so much legally. I've been molested. I didn't have a mom. I didn't have a dad. Everyone that's in my life now, they're very respectful. They care for me. They love me, but I'm so humbled in the aspect of loyalty that I don't really get it. I haven't gotten it, for 5 years, and I'm slowly getting a little more, but not enough that makes a substantial difference. I'm very self-empowered, I've been through so many ups and downs. Some downs were so low that I ended up in jail because I didn't know. I was like, I'm not going to go to jail. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through this. I worked so hard to get through it. And to be put 3 steps back is the most difficult part, because when 3 steps back happens, you're sitting at your lowest point. You figure out, how do you get there? And when I was in the jail cell for 2 weeks, 2 years ago, I felt mentally so strong to come out of it. And I could have easily punched those horrible people in there. It would have been there a lot longer, but every time I thought about doing that, I thought about all the people I was letting down and all the people I wouldn't be able to see, and I'm scared now to go back. Family has always came first to me. Not because I had it, but because I didn't have it. And I'm always opening up my heart for hurt. And I can't say that I'm a victim here because I haven't made the right decisions. But at the same time, I can't say that I was brought up the right way, because I wasn't. There's everyone that's been in my life has not physically been there longer than a year. My grandmother was my guardian, but from the time that I was learning and understanding things and trying to figure it, from time I was 5, where I knew what I was doing was wrong, till now, till maybe 2-3 years ago, I didn't have, people. Everyone was coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And one day, 5 years ago, I met someone. I don't think this individual really understands how much I credit him with me getting to a point of where I am today. I remember that time so vividly. I was signing up for credit cards. I would not clean up after myself. My apartment was a mess. I was causing arguments with my roommate. The people that I felt didn't love me anymore were still around. I didn't want them to be around. That's usually how I rolled up until that point. I didn't want people around that didn't care for me. But they were there every day. And there was this one person who was very constant, and very consistent with wanting me the best for me. And I didn't understand it because I didn't feel like anybody did at that point. I feel like every mistake I made was my fault. I feel like every person I hurt was my fault. I felt that everything that I did that led to me being who I was my fault. And everything. I never considered two-person arguments to be two-sided. I always considered it to be my fault. I went to bed crying some nights because I took everything in. I considered it my fault, my finances, my life up until that point. And there's a time where I have thought about committed suicide. I've taken, excessive pills, 5 years ago, and it didn't do anything. And I never would tell mental health people that because I knew if I told them that, they would put me on suicide watch, and I don't think it was that severe. I felt it was something that I needed to get out of. And to answer that question, God, this individual that introduced me to God and brought me to church groups, introduced me to his family, really, I felt that it was genuine, that this person actually cared, that his family cared, and this was at the same time where my life, no one wanted to be around me. I was like this fly, this flea that everyone wanted to get rid of. And it was 5 years ago. Today, I'm not nowhere near how I was back then. I live on my own, I pay my bills off, and I try the best I can to do the best I can. The part that makes it difficult is trying to humble myself more, let my guards down, and accept help from people when I need help. I think the most hardest thing is for 20 years of my life, I'm 23 now, 20 years of my life, I asked questions and they were never answered. If the questions were answered, it was because I did something wrong. And I never asked people just for help. And if I asked them for help, it was usually to benefit myself in the wrong way. I never asked for help in a genuine way. And keep in mind that people came and went. So it's not like these people felt that I was always asking them for things that wasn't right to ask them for. I just felt like I wasn't with anybody long enough for them to be that way. So there came a point in my life where I did everything on my own. I lived in the system like group homes, living homes, and even though there was a system that they wanted me to follow, I never believed that I was going to stay in that system for the rest of my life. It was a very nice system that they were, but it wasn't enough for what my capabilities are. I just got a job 2 months ago, and believe it or not, I've been through like 15 different jobs. And when I began to believe in my abilities, but most importantly believe in God, that God actually was real, and He was existing in my life, there are times where, still to this day, I don't believe it's true. But because He has shown me that He is real, I can't turn back ever again. And His grace is always there. And if there's one thing that I can say of how I deal with it, my methods of deal with it are personal. They're not illegal like they used to be. But what I can say is I'm more susceptible to asking people for guidance and help than where I was 5 years ago. I don't believe that I am a horrible person anymore. I don't believe that I am a bad person. Even at my lowest points, even when I was in jail, obviously there had to be a high degree of confidence in myself to get out of that position if I was in that much of a mental low. And my confidence and my drive and my optimism has always carried me, and it always will. And I'm hospitable by nature. I love helping people. I love being around people. When I was in jail, I didn't think that the people there cared for me. They didn't want my help. They were criminals. Their actions were 10 times worse than mine were. You had people that, were physical offenders, which means they hurt people. You had people that did drugs. that had so many opportunities to not do it anymore. And then you had people that, had a chance, but they let it go. And I connected more to those people than what I did to the other people because I knew people that did drugs. I'm friends with some of them, but I'm not friends like, let me hang out with you and do drugs. I'm not like that. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. But at the same time, I don't want to confine myself to my own feelings. And where I'm at right now, in the good place I'm at, with my charges being reduced to a misdemeanor and this great job that I have, my optimism is becoming more of who I am. My characteristics are starting to show, and I believe in my ability now. And if it wasn't for this person 5 years ago showing me that constant love and affection and caring, and his family just loving me, they didn't have to. They did. And if you compare that to all those people that knew me, but I thought they didn't know me. They knew me through the system. You can easily look on a piece of paper and say that someone is a horrible person. Everyone said I had potential, but I wasn't living up to my potential. Now I am. So everything is new to me, and I really don't want to take it for granted. So to answer the question to how I'm dealing with it, I will say that I pray as much as I can. I do as much as I can the right way, and I take it one day at a time because that's all that I can do. Before I never would have did that. I would have been thinking about, 6 months down the road before I got through with one day. Before I knew it, my emotions had already went through, and I didn't know what was happening to me until I lost stuff, lost big parts of my life. So I'm extremely grateful, extremely happy, peaceful, but I'm also not stupid. I don't want to go back to where I was. So how do I deal with it in a general sense? When I'm getting my things done and, getting things done, all I have to say is I set expectations with the understanding that they might not always come through, and that's one of the benefits of taking it one day at a time. I prepare, but I prepare with loyalty. I think one thing that I've kept with me is my loyalty. If I'm at a bad place and someone says, you're doing the wrong thing, do I continue to do bad things and stay in that bad place and prove that I'm not a loyal human being, I'm not a loyal citizen, I'm not a loyal individual to my friends, family? Or do I do something about it, realize that, when I get out of this situation, I'm going to be better, but there's a place where I can be great. I can excel. I can, be committed to what I do. I was committed before to what I do. Now I am. And that's by God's grace. And you should see the things that God's have changed in my life. I have friends now. I have people that care for me. I'm vulnerable in an open setting. I never would have done that, a year and a half ago. I think that not being afraid of being who I am is something I do deal with on a constant basis. However, I deal with it. That's the difference. And because of that, me dealing with my issues head on and not waiting until the next week, which is what I focus on, I deal with them head on. I care. And I treat myself well. And I treat the people around me well. And yeah, we might get into arguments and I might not agree on stuff, but I know it's okay. I don't think they're not being unloyal. I'm not afraid to tell someone, you know what, I don't like what you're doing. That doesn't mean I go there and be like, I don't like what you're doing. You're not being loyal to me. And by me, I figured down the last couple years, by the grace of God and by the grace of the people, that loyalty is a powerful thing. The Bible is a powerful thing. God is a powerful thing. But how do I use that loyalty? How do I care after years of not caring? How do I live and not live by my old standards? How do I show my heart while at the same time maintaining my dignity? How do I show passion without not believing? How do I stay within myself without feeling that I'm not staying within myself? This road will do so much. There's people that will help you. Everyone has their own opinions. The stress is so overbearing. But how do I deal with that? And the one thing that the last few years have taught me, the last 5 years for me and this family, is that love, God, grace, working on what I need to work on, loving everyone without feeling like they're judging me, caring for them without feeling like I don't want to care because I feel they're hurting me, continuously believing that I am capable, not fearing myself, not fearing everyone else, not feeling as if my emotions are the only things that's in this world. It's a thing I still deal with, but it's a lot better by 10,000%. But one thing that I can say is I wouldn't be anywhere where I am today if it wasn't for God working through my heart, changing it, giving me a clear mind. There were days where I took my meds, still didn't have a clear mind. Because God stayed true to me, and I stayed true to Him by believing that His grace was real. What do I do now? What I do now is I pray. I go to church, I listen to the word of the Bible, and I try to live as effectively as I can by God's name. I say, God bless every time I speak to someone now. I'm not even afraid to say it. I say, thank you, sweetie. And I don't even know that I'm even saying sweetie to someone that I don't even know. It's just that my heart, my drive, my passion, my love for people, my upbringing that has made me humble is making me pure. The more pure I become, I've realized God exists. The more that God exists, the more happy I am. The more happy I am, the more peaceful I am. I can definitely say that all those four things are in play. Peace with God, love with God, happiness with God is there. You know why it's there? Because God believed in me when no one else did. He used people in my heart to change it. He let people work with me that He changed my actions, my ways, and He allowed me to believe in myself when I needed to, in my worst time. And I thank God every day for that. If I don't say it, I think it in my heart and my mind. My soul, I feel it. So that's how I deal with it. I just want to say, I hope you are able to as well. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Terry.